Hello and welcome to India Today SoSouth. I'm Gautam Shankar. Now, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh have been battered by torrential rains for the second consecutive day. Heavy rains over the last 2 days have been caused due to a depression, and that has led to a flood-like situation in several districts. PM Modi and Union Home Minister Amit Shah as well has spoken to the Chief Minister of both the states. Now, what we're trying to understand is what is causing this unprecedented heavy rainfall in the past 2 days in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, which has paralyzed life at several places, especially in Vijayawada and the vicinity around it. So, to understand more on this, I'm now joined in by weather blogger Srikanth. Basically, he runs the Twitter page called Chennai Rains, and he's an avid weather blogger. I want to make it clear that we are here not to express the views from the point of view of the IMD. We are just tracking the news from the point of view of a very avid weather blogger and a very trusted weather blogger at that. Srikanth, welcome to the show. So, according to you, what is the reason that we are seeing this kind of heavy rainfall in the two Telugu states this time around?
Gautam, see, it's like this. Last week, we did see a similar incident in Gujarat as well, which was caused by a deep depression that eventually became Cyclone Asna. Now, the monsoon depressions are something which is not rare or something like that. We get monsoon depressions, slow-moving depressions. All of those are something that happens on a regular basis. But the point that we need to keep in mind now is that I keep reiterating this often. It's now almost like a parrot. I keep repeating it. The North Indian Ocean Basin, which is basically Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal, is now possibly one of the warmest ocean bodies globally. On an average, over the last couple of years, if you see, the temperatures have been around 29 degrees on an average across most parts of the North Indian Ocean Basin. Now, this means that the availability of moisture gets drastically increased because a warmer ocean can provide more moisture, and when more moisture becomes available, the intensity of the rains increase. Now, also, if you look at how some of the events are happening, is that in July also we saw very heavy rains in parts of Karnataka, Kerala, Wayanad. We did witness the landslide as well in Wayanad right now. So the rainfall events are getting what is called as intensified because of the availability of abundant moisture. So what normally could have been say a 10 or a 15 centimeter event becomes enhanced to a 25 or 30 centimeter event. Obviously, there's another point which we might have to keep in mind here, which is that the observations are now more. Telangana has a AWS network, AP has a AWS network, Karnataka has a AWS network. So the observations are more, no doubts about it. So possibly in the olden days, some of these 30, 40 centimeter events may not have been recorded because the number of observation points were less. IMD had much lesser, maybe only one in the district headquarters or something like that, or in some cases, taluks alone. But the proof of the pudding lies in eating it. Krishna is carrying water like never before, right? Yeah. So the Prakasam barrage is at full flow, and so it's not that these observations were picked up because the AWS network existed, right? So the rains have been extremely heavy, no doubts about it.
All right. So, Srikanth, before you continue, you also just before this discussion here, while we were having a talk, you spoke about warmer oceans and how this is contributing to heavier rainfall, and how this could be a kind of circumstance where you have to be prepared for it now. There's no point, we are seeing something like Vijayawada. It's got the highest rainfall in 30 years. It's broken that record as well. So this could become a common phenomenon. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Don't go far away. 2023 December, parts of the district received 90 centimeters.
Yes.
Right? And there were people who were asking, it's not even a low pressure, it's just an upper air circulation. How could it bring 90 centimeters of rain? The key here is the warmer oceans. Now, so what is happening is each of these episodes, which could have possibly been a 20, 30 centimeter event, is getting enhanced to 40, 50 and more. Gujarat had places received 50, 60 centimeters in over 24, 36 hours. During Micham, Chennai received 50 centimeters in about 36 hours, right? Or 24 hours split into 2 days, 2 meteorological days. Vijayawada has received like that. Andhra, parts of Andhra, Telangana has received 50 centimeters as well, right? So the events are happening at higher frequency. That's what I am trying to sort of convey here. What are, say, 50-year events, 1 in 50-year or 1 in 100-year, no more 1 in 50-year or no more 1 in 100-year events. It's happening at much more higher frequency than ever before. And I think the warm oceans are the biggest drivers of it.
Okay. And also what we're hearing is something about another cyclonic event that or low depression that is forming in the area. What have you collected about this incident right now? Because we hear that there's another depression forming there.
Yeah, actually, not one. There could be 2 depressions back to back. In fact, actually, this spell would possibly have, I think, 4 or maybe even 5. 2 is already done.
Okay.
The deep depression which became Cyclone Asna, and the depression over coastal AP and South Orissa, which created havoc in Telangana, Andhra. Now the next one, we are seeing an area of disturbance over the Indochina Peninsula. That could possibly come into Bay of Bengal in a couple of days' time and possibly become a low pressure. Now, the good news is that it could possibly enter into Bay of Bengal at a point which is slightly north to where the current event happened, which means that the heaviest rainfall could possibly happen over Orissa and West Bengal, Jharkhand, rather than Orissa, South That's one bit of good news, which possibly I think I should mention at this point of time, even though there is a very strong likelihood of not 1 but 2 low pressures that could come in the next couple of weeks' time. But mostly it could be towards the North Bay than the Central Bay. Now, the earlier one happened in Central Bay, the Central Bay and North Bay border, because of which the impact was on AP and Telangana. The upcoming ones could possibly move into North Bay, and Orissa and Jharkhand, West Bengal could be the areas where, as I said, once again, initially the model estimates of rainfall is not so high. Now, as the event gets nearer, possibly the models will do some course correction. We could possibly see models throwing up scenarios where the rainfall quantum gets increased. So, fingers crossed, hopefully we don't see another extreme rainfall event over the Chota Nagpur region.
Yeah. Srikanth, I also wanted to talk to you about the models that you're talking about. Because you've been progressively tracking how the IMD functions and how even the state governments are equipped with all the necessary instruments to gauge the rainfall and everything. So, do you feel the state governments are now equipped with all that's necessary? Basically, the reason I'm asking this is because could these predictions, they could basically help them better prepare for evacuation, reduce the kind of the fatalities that we are seeing here as well. Are we on par or are we still getting there? What is your assessment?
In terms of weather model outputs, I think we are fairly there. Of course, there's always room for improvement, no doubts about it. There's always room for improvement. We could possibly benefit if, say, for example, we get higher resolution mesoscale models made available across the country. I think we possibly that's an area which we could get some benefit. But I think personally, to me, the biggest area of improvement I think we need to look at, that should be the focus of pretty much everyone in disaster management, is last mile communication. Now, I mean, I think even people like you in the media have a role to play in it. When I say last mile communication, 2 things which we need to keep in mind. One is, how can we simplify the last mile communication to tell people that this is what you should expect. Okay.
Hmm.
And when I say this is what you should expect, weather forecasts always come with a certain degree of uncertainty. Now, how do I also communicate that there's an uncertainty element as well? But please be prepared so that you don't get caught off guard. Now, that's the biggest challenge which I think we should take up. Because if you ask me, the area where we are lacking is that last mile communication. I keep saying this often. When you go to US, then there's a certain warning given. People take the warning, and whatever is the SOP that needs to be followed, they follow it. That's because it's drilled into their culture, right? So from school age, they are sort of exposed to it, and it's like a mechanical reaction to whatever comes in, right? And similarly, I think we should possibly look into that last mile communication, so that I agree, India is a much different country compared to the US. But yes, not only would we reduce fatalities through events like rainfall and cyclone, look at, say, for example, lightning. Lightning is the biggest contributor to deaths in natural disasters in India. It's not floods, it's not cyclone, it's not earthquake. Lightning contributes the highest amount of deaths as a natural disaster, right?
Okay.
But we talk very little about it. So all of these is because we need to make that effort to make our last mile communication better, so that people understand easily. Not only understand, they are clear of what they are supposed to do. Now, obviously, when you tell people that it's going to do 30 centimeter rain is going to happen, or 50 centimeter rain is going to happen, unless until he knows what should he be prepared of, what should he expect of, he's not going to put that action in place, isn't it? The feedback gets completed, the loop gets completed when he starts putting in an action at his side based on the inputs that he has received as a weather warning, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, say, for example, I live in a floodplain, and
go ahead.
Okay, at 30 centimeters, okay, I need to be prepared. Possibly my ground floor might get flooded, or say, for example, I need to take safety measures to say move to a higher ground, or say, for example, if I'm one of those guys who are parking my car on the road, I should be careful that okay, there's a chance that my street might get flooded, so I possibly look at parking my car somewhere else today, right? So those are the action points which somebody can take, which means that when communication is clear and you tell him what is expected and what he's supposed to do, then yes, that way all of us are proactive, isn't it? Yes. Today, most of us are reactive, right? So,
yeah. Srikanth, also, I've just been reading your tweets as well. You talk about this is the new normal, and you've been warning people this is what they need to prepare for, that the oceans are warming up. And it's not just India, it's globally as well. See, there's a lot of questions about what is causing this warming of the oceans, because I've spoken to a couple of activists, climate change activists as well. So they are of the opinion that this is happening. It's a man-made event. It's because of us that the oceans are warming up, and this is why we are seeing this kind of extreme rainfall events as well. What would you like to say on this? Because at least I can see that there are at least a couple of posts by you yourself saying that this is a new normal, and if this is the new normal, how do we prepare for this?
Yeah, there are a couple of things which I would like to clarify here. One is I'm not sure if I'm knowledgeable enough to attribute a certain portion of this to climate change, right? A. B is that our observations are too short period. I mean, we still have 200, 300 years of observation, but Earth has been there for millions of years, right? We know by this time that ice age happened, and then there was a warming period. I seriously don't know whether the current phase of warming of oceans across the globe, is it the ebbs and flows? Is there a periodicity, a long cyclical event, or is it part of the climate change that's triggering these abnormal warmth? I know for sure that there's an abnormal warmth because North Indian Ocean is possibly 1.5 degrees warmer than say 100 years back. So there is abnormal warmth, no doubt about it. And you can't heat up such a large scale of water body by 1 or 1.5 degrees if there's no heat available, right? So no doubts about it. But to be honest, I don't know how much should the blame be apportioned to climate change, and how much should it be a normalized cyclical evolution that keeps happening back and forth. For example, even in my own tweet, if you see, during the late 19th century, there was a cooling in North Indian Ocean, which is the reason why I clearly mentioned the dip and the increase, because we've seen the numbers do show that the late 19th century, there was a dip in ocean temperatures around India. But as I said, the last 20, 30 years, the sea has been warming abnormally. So I'm sure there is a portion of which is man-made, but honestly, I am not sure how much would I apportion that to our contribution. But all I can say is that it is warming. We are going to see more extreme rainfall events at much more higher frequency than earlier before, and numbers which will continue to say that has never happened before, right? So you'll keep, I mean, how many of us, I think 2005, Bombay had 95 centimeters, and people said it may not happen at all. And we had multiple places recording 90 centimeters in Thoothukudi district last year, right? So, as I said, the numbers will continue to increase, the frequency will continue to increase. We should possibly be prepared for it.
All right. Thank you so much, Srikanth, for joining us with your views. They're basically saying that it's the last mile communication, right? That is the thing. We need to prepare for the new normal that we cannot really escape right now. And it comes from better preparation from the weather forecasting agencies as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Srikanth, for joining us.
Thanks, Gautam. Thank you.